Well, good morning. This is Pastor Keith Hodges, and I want to welcome you today to Everyday Sunday. Psalms 118, verse 24 says, "This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it." Well, today we're rejoicing over so many amazing things that God has done, and I want to just celebrate with you today because yesterday we had a giveaway of my new book, or my latest book, Soar, a 30-day devotional, and I'm excited to announce this morning that Gayla, you have won our book, and we've already sent you a message this morning, so if you'll just follow up with us, we'd love to get that delivered to you. Congratulations. Pray that it's a blessing and just adds value to your daily life as you grow in the Lord and live a life of spiritual significance. Well, this morning I want to talk to you about a message simply entitled Safe Place. Safe Place. In 1983, a local YMCA in Kentucky started an outreach called Safe Place. You've probably seen the little triangle that literally says Safe Place on it across the land in our community, at many businesses and different places. And the outreach was really intended to provide a safe place for teenagers who felt unsafe at home, who were overwhelmed by life, or many who may have even been struggling with suicidal thoughts. But I want to say to you today that as a believer in Jesus Christ, that we have a safe place. There is a place of refuge that we can run to in times of adversity. And in John chapter 10, Jesus makes an amazing statement. Jesus said, "My sheep listen to my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish." What an awesome thought. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish. No one can snatch them away from me, for my Father has given them to me, and He is more powerful than anyone else. Listen to this last statement. And no one can snatch them from my Father's hand. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice and they follow me, and I give them eternal life." The gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. I just want to say real quick this morning, if you're watching today and maybe you've never accepted the gift of eternal life, you've never trusted Jesus as Lord of your life, you've never given Him ownership over you, then today is the day of salvation, and He wants to give you the gift of eternal life. And look what He says, "and they will never perish." And then He makes this amazing statement, "No one can snatch them from my hand, because the Father who has given them to me is more powerful than anyone." How many know God's more powerful than anyone? He's stronger, He's bigger, He's greater, He's more loving, more compassionate than anyone else that we know. And then He says, "and no one can snatch them from my Father's hands." We are safe today in the arms of God. Jesus has said, look what He said, "No one can snatch you from my Father's hands." Adversity, I want you to hear me today. Adversity, trial, tribulation, anxiety, stress, grief, loss, tragedies, and even triumphs cannot separate us from the love and the care of God. He is our safe place. And I want to encourage you to do something today. I want to encourage you to run to Him. Run to God like the teenager that reaches out to the safe place in the natural. I want you to understand that as a believer, as a child of God, we have a safe place. And here's what I want you to see today. As Christians, we are not exempt. Understand this. We are not exempt from adversities and tragedies. You know that. We live in a world stained by sin, the curse of sin. We're literally living in a war zone. We have a real enemy, the devil, who wants to steal, kill, and destroy. We live in a world where the curse of sin is still bringing death, disease, and chaos. And so we're not exempt from the tragedies and adversities of life, but we do have a safe place. We have a place today that we can run to. We can run into the arms of our loving God. We can rest in God's hands. Jesus said, "No one can snatch you out of my hands." Years ago, many of you have heard about Corrie Ten Boom. She wrote the book, The Hiding Place, an amazing story of faith. Her and her family were hiding Jews during Nazi persecution of the Jews as they were killing the Jews. They were hiding Jews, and her sister Betsy were imprisoned in a Nazi concentration camp. And before her sister died, she made this statement to her sister Corrie, and this is what she said. She says, "We must tell people what we have learned here in the concentration camp, where they were tortured, where they were put down into isolation pits, where they had to work every day in forced labor." She says, "We must tell people what we have learned here. We must tell them that there is no pit," listen to this, "there is no pit so deep that He is not deeper still." And then she said, they will listen to us, Corrie, because we have been here. I want you to think about something. Betsy Ten Boom, who later died, and then 15 days later, her sister Corrie Ten Boom was released. Betsy said to her sister, she said, they'll listen to us because we've been here. I want you to understand that a part of the validity of our faith, the thing that makes our testimony real to people that don't know God, is not that we never suffer persecution. It's that in the midst of adversity, tribulation, persecution, grief, loss, and heartache, they recognize something. They recognize that in the midst of our pit, there is a love of God that is deeper, that there's a safe place that we run to. And when our world is falling apart, we don't have to. And when our world is crumbling, we don't have to. And when the world runs away, we can run in to the arms of our loving God. There is a safe place. And they'll listen to us. Hear me today. It is not your adversity and trial that turns people away from your testimony of faith. It is your adversity and trial that draws people in to your testimony of faith. Because when you can testify that there's a safe place in God, that no matter how deep the pit is, His love is deeper. It draws the broken, the hurting, and the hopeless in. And I hear the words of Jesus, come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. There is a safe place in God today. God bless you as you run to the arms of our loving God.